And so I want to talk with you a little bit about, and if there's questions at any time, just let me know. But so the preliminary plan to carry the 100-year storm down the St. Vrain, that is really sort of the essence of what we're looking at. And there are about 5 reaches. We've done some conceptual designs along the St. Vrain, all the way from Martin Street on the east to Likens Gulch, which is just west of Hover Road in the Golden Ponds Park area on the west. And we've broken that down into 5 different reaches for the purposes of budgeting and cost estimating. You know, I will caution these cost estimates are fairly quite preliminary. We're working very fast on these things. But I feel pretty good that the numbers I'm going to talk with you about are probably numbers that we will not exceed. And if we are good at what we're trying to do, we might even come in at a little bit lower. Before I get into the costs, though, I want to talk a little bit about the river west of the city so that folks at home can sort of see the work that Boulder County has done and the work that the city of Longmont has done with regards to trying to protect those neighborhoods west of the city. And then I also want to talk a little bit about the current capacity of the St. Vrain for spring runoff down through our community as well. And so what I'm going to have Barb pull up here and show the different layers on is, this is the St. Vrain west of Longmont. Airport Road is in about the center of this aerial map. You can see the Longmont, if you can move your cursor, Barb, where Airport Road is. And then the Longmont Airport, you can sort of see right next to the to Airport Road. And so what we have had is a CH2M Hill. We have had them do modeling of the St. Vrain in its current configuration. The area has had new topographic survey done in its post-flood condition. And so what we asked them to do was to model the river at different flow rates so that we can see what the impact was. What I'm going to show you here, this is what's called on the improved drawing, meaning post-repair of the breaches west of the city. And the county has just announced today that they have finished the repairs of all 3 of the breaches, which is great news. I went out and drove by them on Saturday, and I will confirm that I think the county's done a good job, and their contractor has done a good job. And the major breach was the one that was breached at the very top corner of this photograph where the white area is. That was the major breach that caused the river to find a channel north of the St. Vrain and into those neighborhoods. So that breach has now been repaired. And so this first flow rate, I think, is for year 2011, which was another high snowpack year. And that is what's got some folks very concerned. It's got my attention. I think it's got everybody's attention. Whenever you have that much snow sitting in the mountains west of you, you have the potential to have a pretty heavy runoff. But 2011 also had a very high snowpack. It didn't, however, have the highest runoff in the last 10 years. So going forward, I think this is now the 10-year flow rate. And then the next one, I think, is 1995 flow rate, which was the highest flow rate that we have seen in about the last 25 to 30 years. And that flow rate at Lyons was about 1,900 CFS. We are working towards and planning towards 2,500 CFS. That is the flow rate that we are trying to protect against in this year's spring runoff, which is greater than the flow rate that we have seen in the last 30 years, which isn't to say we couldn't have it. But I'm trying to sort of give the sense that we're not just planning for a routine runoff. We know we have the potential for something to be higher. And so as we go forward, this is now the 50-year flow rate, which is far greater than 2,500 CFS. And you can see, even in this drawing, that the river essentially stays in its channel west of Airport Road. It does inundate some low-lying pasture land and farmland west of the city, but it does not break out of its main channel and start heading into those neighborhoods west of the city. And then this last one, even when we turn on a 1-in-100-year flood event, so this is around 10,000 CFS coming down the river west of the city. With that breach repaired, it shows that the neighborhoods do not get inundated. But here's the big catch. A, the breach has got to hold. The repair of the breach has got to hold, right? That's what's standing between those neighborhoods and a potential for a repeat offense, if you will. And so what we are working in concert with the county on are several other layers of defense. The first one being immediately downstream of that breach is where we breach the river in partnership with the county across Hygiene Road. We would reopen that breach in the event that the repair at breach number 7 fails. Okay. If that doesn't work, we are also then working with property owners between 75th and Airport Road to lay out a drainage channel to, again, redirect the river south back towards its main channel, to redirect it towards the bridge at Airport Road. And then lastly, the city and our contractors are working today to place the concrete barriers on Airport Road. And that's sort of the last and fourth line of defense, if you will, against that flood reoccurring. I can't say with 100% guaranteed it won't happen, but I do feel pretty confident. We are going to go back and meet with all those neighborhoods again, and luckily we're going to be able to go back and tell them some good news so that we get out of there alive. But I do feel pretty good about it. Things can change. And so what can change to make this a different scenario? Well, the worst thing that happens is temperatures rise very, very rapidly. It stays cold for a long time. We get a lot of late snow. We get a lot of snow in April. We even get snow early in May, and then it just turns around and goes up to 90 degrees, 80, 90 degrees. And then you add on top of that a rain event. That's what can change the characteristics of a spring runoff. And it takes all of that phenomena coming together. That can happen. I would think, short of another catastrophic event, though, we would likely not have a 100-year flood event, even in 2014 snowpack. Can't predict the future, and I'm not a meteorologist either. So, Barb, can you show us now the St. Vrain coming through the city at 2,500 CFS? And so this is, again, CH2M Hill has modeled the river in its current condition. This modeling work starts at about Hover Road and works its way down to Martin Street. And we'll just sort of step through these slides, but what I want to show here is that the river is contained within its channel at 2,500 CFS. Even through this next stretch, which is sort of a critical reach between Sunset and Boston Avenue near the Isaac Walton Pond, which is where it breached into the pond, and then the pond overflowed into the neighborhood and into the business park just to the east of them. This shows that 2,500 CFS is able to make it through there. We are doing additional work, though, in that length of the channel in partnership with the property owners between Sunset and Boston to even improve this condition beyond that. And so I think we're going to be able to carry in excess of 2,500 CFS, possibly upwards of 3,000 or a little bit more through that stretch as well. And then as you make your way down through the city, here we are at Pratt and the Railroad. Again, it's staying within its channel. It's sort of behaving itself at that flow rate, not causing us too much problem. And it does that all the way out to and through Martin Street. And so what we are working on is granular gravel debris removal at some key locations. One is at the Airport Road Bridge, upstream and downstream of that bridge, because we are trying to funnel a lot of water to that bridge. Last thing we want to do is send water there and not be able to get under the bridge. And so that work is about to get underway. We're working very well with the county and the Zwick family, which has been a pleasure to work with. They are wonderful people that help us when we need help. And I get emotional talking about them because they are good folks. And then we're also going to be removing debris in that stretch from the railroad down to Pratt, where it comes around Boston Court in that same area, and then also just downstream of where Dry Creek comes into the St. Vrain behind Harvest Junction. Those are some key locations where we need to get the channel cleared so that it will pass flows. So that's the work that the public sort of needs to understand is going on just in advance of spring runoff, and to let sort of get folks updated on that.